2014 Cherry Blossom Bonspiel. We're broadcasting the game on Sheet B between the Bliss team and the Morse team. The Morse team is mostly local curlers from Potomac Curling Club. Bliss is a team made up of curlers from New York, Toronto, and Pittsburgh. We're going to be updating you on what's happening on the other sheets as well. On Sheet A, we have Dunham and Zakin. On Sheet C, we have Stopera against Hicks. And on Sheet D, we have Roberts versus Millet. We are already in the first end. And right now, Beth Cubison is throwing her seconds rocks. This is her last rock. Call seems to be a takeout. That's a little light for a takeout. No, it's more like a draw going to the other side to protect the rock in the back and stay roughly in front of it. Maybe, yeah, it took out the red rock on the left side, but it spilled out of play. It didn't manage to take out the rock, so it needed to curl a little bit more or to have a little bit more power to it to be able to take that red out. We've got Carl Anderson skipping for Team Morse. Brendan Morse is actually playing Vice today. That's Brandon Corbett's rock. There are a couple of red rocks functioning as guards up in front of the house there. And that's covering in front so that red won't be able to promote their rocks into the button. Now for Brendan's second rock, it looks like Jake Bailey is trying to hit that rock that was just thrown, take it out. Yeah, the weight looks like a takeout weight, and hopefully it will curl enough to be able to hit it and stick there and maybe even roll. No, it's still going on the outside there. It's gonna take a little bit off it and rolls out of play to the left. For Brandon's second and last rock in this end, it seems like Carl is calling a draw behind that cluster of guards that's near the center line. It looks like a lot of ice for that, so it might be. It looks like that's not the call. Maybe it will curl enough. Curl enough for him to get to the top 12, and now red has 3 rocks in the house, making it a little more difficult for Team Bliss to be able to take that out and to win this end. That's a nice draw to bite the 8-foot on the right side for Team Bliss. Carl Anderson getting ready to throw his first rock, and the call is a takeout on the yellow rock that was just put in on the right side of the house. Carl goes with a pretty heavy takeout. On the outside, it's safer to go with a little heavier just in case the rock tends to curl a little bit more on the outside. And he gets it and sticks right there, nose in the rock. So now Brendan Corbett is holding the broom for Jake Bailey's shot. It should be a takeout and roll inside behind those guards. If he can do it, if he can make the rock hit on the left side of center and roll inside, he will be in very good position for the end of this first end. Managed to do the hit, but his rock is still exposed there, and it's not out counting any of the red rocks, so it looks like Carl is calling for a draw. And we certainly have Brandon with the broom far out on the left side, maybe trying to tap in the red or maybe just a draw behind it. Would like to thank all the 13 people who are watching our broadcast right now. Please feel free to put some comments on the right side of your screen, and we'll try to answer them as soon as we see them.
Yes, now! All right, it's great. It's got to be top 8. Let it go, top 10. All right, it's good. Got like 4 waiting. All right.
Seems like the rock's slowing down, and I'm not sure if it's going to get to the house, but at least it will serve as a guard. Yeah, it's in the house, and it's close to the tee line, but it's still, yeah, that gives them 4 points for red. So the score now is 4-0 for Morse, who threw his hammerstone to draw one more into the house where he already had 3. Actually, it was Carl Anderson who is skipping today. Brandon Morse is playing vice.
3-4.
Kathy Dunn just threw her first rock, and the call is the traditional center line guard. Looks like the weight's good. It's going to be a 2-3 guard.
Shot.
Thanks, Diane, for following us on live stream. This is a live broadcast of the 10th draw of the Cherry Blossom Bonspiel here at the Potomac Curling Club. Bliss's first rock goes into the house, it curls a little bit, and it's right on the tee line, biting the forefoot. Now, Carl Anderson is calling a takeout on that from the inside out. That's the out turn for Kathy Dunn's second shot. The rock's out. It seems like it's a little bit outside of where he wanted. Now he has to wait to see if it's going to curl enough to get rid of that yellow rock. And it's curling at the end. It's going to get rid of it, but it's going to roll the red out of play as well. And Joe Rockenbach just got rid of Tony for more vigorous sweeping, and Tony is sitting on the sideline, Tony the sweater.
That's okay. Yep. Looks better. Yep. Oh.
Bliss's second rock is two guard, just outside the forefoot. And looks like Carl is going a little bit aggressive. Maybe it's a guard that he wants just in front of the rings, or maybe if it's a little long, then it will get into the house and hopefully behind cover of the guard that's slightly off the center line. The weight is certainly in the house there, probably close to tee. It's a top 8 probably, top 4, and it's a very good rock. It's a little bit exposed there, so Jake Daly is going to call for a control weight takeout, trying to hit it on the inside and roll behind the guards.
Yes!
It looks like this yellow rock did not curl enough at all, and it's going to flash outside the red. And Carl is now calling for a guard to protect his rock that's in the 4-foot circle. Seems like there's a lot of curl this morning here. Carl is putting the broom right at the edge of the 12-foot, trying to hope for 4 feet of curl for 4'2", 4'3", and it looks like the throw is a little heavy, so he's going to get another rock in the house, and it didn't curl as much as he expected. That means that Team Bliss is going to try to hit that one and take that one out, roll inside. I don't think that the broom in that position indicates that he's trying to get the double at all. Or maybe he's going for the back one. That could be a better shot. Yeah, he's going for the back one. They're sweeping hard because it looks like it's curling hard and it's curling early, getting the guard that was right on the center line there and spilling out a little bit. And Carl's shot for Team Morse is attempting to put the guard right back in there to protect his shot rock. The broom right inside the 8 foot might mean that he expects it to curl more than 4 feet again. They're waiting for that extra curl at the end. Again, it's a little bit heavy, heavier than he expected. He went to the 3 guard. That's going to be a biter. But he got all the curl that he needed, and he's right there protecting his rock. The 2 rocks that are the biter and the one on the 12 foot are protecting the rock on the 4 foot. Makes it really hard to do a direct hit on the shot rock. So it seems like Jake Bailey is trying to get the double. A nose hit on the front guard will probably get it if he can get the curl enough and make the right call on the ice to get the nose hit. He got rid of the guard, but he was trying to go for the other side double, didn't get the exact angles that he needed. And Carl is just trying to put that rock back in there. Maybe farther out will be better and make the double a little bit harder. This is a lot lighter than the previous guard, and it's taking a little bit longer to start the curl. Now they're sweeping at the end to try to get a little bit more curl at the end and protect his shot rock better. Now, it didn't cover as much as the other one, and Jake is looking at the opportunity to hit it directly without having to take out the guard. And his vice, Brendan Corbett is trying to suggest something else, but it looks like they're going to go with the inside out, heavy hit. No, the outside in.
Okay, not a ton though.
Jake's putting the broom down, but I don't think that Brendan agreed with the first option, which was the inside out, and asked for the outside in curl. He's going to throw an out turn, trying to hit that rock, and hopefully he can even get a little bit of a roll to stay behind one of the guards. Not as heavy as I would expect that to be. He might get a little bit of early curl that might hit the guard, or he's going to go right by the guard. Perfectly made shot. It's a perfect hit, just enough of a roll to put it behind the guard and make it life a lot harder for Carl. Brendan calling for Carl's first rock. It should be a slow hit and try to get that yellow rock out of there. Brendan and Carl playing a pretty aggressive game. They managed to get 4 in the first end, score being 4-0. And now it looks like he's still trying to get to steal in this end. Just splitting the guards there and trying to get the direct line for the next hit. It was supposed to be a slow hit on that yellow, but it curled early, ending up and hitting his own rock in front of the house. scores for A, C, and D? Who's red, who's yellow? Thanks. And he puts another rock in the house right in front of the 4-foot, but the center line is open, and Brandon and Carl are looking for a possibility of a double there that would leave 3 of their rocks in the house and no yellow rocks if they can pull this shot. They're sweeping hard that rock, trying to get it to curl just enough to get rid of at least one of those 2 yellow rocks. Ooh, it hit the front one and spilled out the plate. Manages to get 3 points by drawing just another rock into the 4-foot. So now the score is 4 for Team Morse, skipped today by Carl Anderson, and 3 for Team Bliss, skipped today by Jake. We're trying to get you updates for all the other sheets, the games going on. We're going to get that to you as soon as we can. We're trying to confirm which team is throwing red and which team is throwing yellow in each one of the sheets. Now for the second rock for Team Bliss. Team Morse already has one in the back of the house. They managed to get their rock right in front of the red rock, making it a lot harder for Carl and his team. Now for Kathy's second last rock in this end. They're going to try to put it right where yellow put their rock, just go in front of the yellow rock that was just put in there. It's called like a draw to the tee line, maybe slightly behind it, and reducing the size of the available playing field. It curled a little more than they expected. It's a little bit open there, but it's really hard to take it out. So now Team Bliss is going to try to put that rock right in front of those two. It's this end is being played more like a draw game. There's only one guard out of the house.
Line's tight. Got a little line to work with now. Line's good. Yeah, hard. Yeah, hard. All the way, guys. All the way. All the way up. All the way. It's perfect. Yep. Right up. Right up. Right up. Right up.
And just enough of a curl and a perfect way to be just behind the tee line and still protected by that red guard, yellow guard that's outside the house. Now Joe's going to try to have his rock just repeat what the yellow rock did and stay right in front of it. Hopefully he can get it there and keep his rock as the scoring rock for this end.
Like it in the 12 foot. I think you better swing. I look it in the 12 foot, so you better swing. Yes! Hard! Really hard.
It's in the house. I don't believe that it is counting. Now we have yellow has the counting rock there just off to the left of center.
Set up. Be top button. Whoa. Lot of room. Be top button. Set up, right?
And everybody's trying to put the rock as close as they can to the center. This is a little bit heavy, but it's going to use the red as backing, and now yellow has two rocks counting right inside the 4 foot and with backing, which forces the Team Morse to draw into those two rocks. So for Joe's second throw in this end, he's going to try to get enough of a curl and enough of a weight that's going to be able to just tuck his rock right in front of those two rocks that they're backing. It's not curling much, but it might curl late.
Yes, now. Yes. Up. Back line. Yes, a little bit. Yep.
Now with the red rock shot in there, but just by a little bit, making this a very exciting end for this game. Now the call is to go, it looks like it's going to be going hard and heavy for that shot rock. That's the red rock. That would spill the red to the outside on the right, and the yellow would just go to the left and be tucked in and would get four yellow rocks counting. Looks like it didn't curl much. It didn't cross the center line, so it moves it back but leaves only two yellow rocks counting and one red rock behind. Now we have again a red rock as the scoring rock and a chance for yellow to hit it out and hopefully get at least two, maybe three rocks counting, making it more difficult for red that has hammer at this end. And it jams on the guard, leaving a red rock right in there. Giving red a chance to score two if they can pull this. Still discussing this shot and trying to see if the best option is really the draw that he's thinking about calling right now. It would be a draw right into those two yellows. Let's see if it will curl and have just enough weight. They're not sweeping it, So it looks like it's just too light to get there, so red will have to content themselves with scoring 1 and staying 2 ahead. Gives yellow a chance to hit hard and get rid of the shot rock, which would give them 2, maybe 3. Yeah, it looks like it's just a perfect shot, leaving 3 rocks in a lineup on the left side of the 4-foot and forcing again the red team, the Team Morse with Carl Anderson throwing skip, and they're going to try to get their rock into the house that's pretty much open, so it's got to be a weight call on whether they're going to get their rock there and be able to outcount the 3 rocks that are in the 4-foot. They're calling a hard sweep there. It's got to get there, so you got to sweep it hard. They even have Brandon coming out and trying to help them to sweep that in. It doesn't look like it got anywhere. That's 3 points for yellow because the weight wasn't the right weight for the draw. So he had to draw 1 against 3. He wasn't able to get it into the 4-foot. Now the score is 6 for Bliss, throwing yellow rocks, and 4 for Morse, throwing red rocks. I have Pete here saying that Carl needs a hug. So, Diane, if you're still tuned in, send positive vibes so that Carl will get the weight that he needs when he needs those draws at the end, drawing against 3. Dan Bliss's rock is a pretty good guard that's a little bit off center, but the weight is just perfect right in front of the house. Carl trying to get Kathy Dunn's rock right behind that guard that was just thrown by Dan Bliss. Looks like the weight is right, looks like the line is perfect. It's just a very good rock at the 4-foot.
Back 12, wait, down.
And Jake's call is for a heavy draw weight around the back line, trying to dislocate that red rock that's in the 4-foot. He can probably get enough of a curl to get it back, but that would leave the yellow rock exposed. Seems like it's starting to curl, and then it starts curling a lot, and it's already on the guard. It's just going to split the 2 guards. And one of them stays in the house, the other one goes out of play. And Carl is going for a hit on the rock that stayed in the house. That's Kathy's 2nd rock in this end. Calling for a sweep. It's probably starting to curl a little more than he expected. He gets a very good shot and it rolls off to the side and staying almost right next to the other rock that he has. That's a dangerous setup because it allows the opposing team to hit one or two of these rocks out of play. And it makes it easy because if you miss one, you're still going to hit the other. One of the rock goes out of play, the other one stays in the 12-foot. This is turning out to be a takeout end where both teams are all the time trying to take out the opponent's end. There are no guards inside. Just right to get it out. It was a slight danger of a jam there, but the angles were just right that they managed to take the yellow rock out, roll to the other side, and still stay in the house.
You want to hit? We're going to hit and roll, okay?
Now, Jake was trying to call for a freeze on the rock that's on the edge of the 4-foot, but Beth Cubison was not interested in any of that. She wants to hit it out. Got to wait for that to start curling across the center line. Nobody's sweeping that. But it did not curl enough for the rock to be taken out of play, giving Carl an opportunity to put a guard, possibly a biter guard, in front of that shot rock to help protect it from being hit. Okay, Diane, are you Carl's mom? Are you sending him some positive vibes there? Because it looks like he's in a much better position in this end than they were at the end of the previous end when his shot was a little bit short of getting there and scoring one, and they ended up giving up 3. Now this guard is not going to be in the house. Or actually it will, it's a biter, but it does not cover the shot rock.
I think so, yeah.
Now Jake's call for Brandon's first rock is going to be a hit. Brandon's a very strong hitter, excellent curler, having participated in junior nationals, nationals, and all different types of competition. He will get the hit, but he will not get the roll that he was hoping for that would have helped protect his rock. So we're going to go for Carl calling for the same hit that Team Bliss just shot. But hopefully his rock will be able to roll behind the guard. And now it started to curl and curl a lot. It's going to hit, it's going to roll, but still be exposed there. Maybe they were hoping for a little bit more of a roll to help protect that rock a little bit more.
Give me less ice, okay? Less ice. I think control will do it. Yep.
now there are 3 red rocks in the house. Did not get the outcome that he expected, ended up crashing on the guard, moving the guard into the house and losing his rock.
Same weight. Carl, this is good. This is also okay. I like this.
So now Carl in the house and Brandon getting ready to throw are discussing what would be the best shot. I think they settled on splitting the 4-foot, putting one a little bit in front of that one, and on the right side, if you're looking from the broadcasting booth, on the left side, if you're looking at the camera, into the house. It's a biter, but it's not the weight that he expected. That still leaves the possibility for Team Bliss to hit that shot rock and have some space to roll behind the biter that was just put in. Now this is Jake Bailey's first rock in this end. I was talking to Jake before this end started. He said that his mom is probably going to be watching this as well. So he says, "Hi, Mom." Looks like it's pretty heavy and it's curling a bit too much. It's already past the rock that he wanted to hit. So it looked like it was about maybe a little lighter than he expected, because where he put the broom was supposed to be a pretty sturdy hit there, and what he threw was closer to being a hack weight, and that's why it curled so much. Now for Carl's rock, he's trying to put a guard in front of the shot rock. It's a little heavy, it's house weight, or maybe it's just a draw to the other side of the 4-foot behind. Yeah, it looks like a draw. It's not going to go behind the... It's at the top of the 4-foot. Didn't hide behind the guard, and it didn't stay in front of the shot rock, which would be the two positions that would be better for him.
Well, I don't think there's a normal way right here. No. Let's play this deal.
So now Jake is calling for a draw between those two rocks, the one on the top of the 4 and the guard, that's a biter on the left side. And if he can get it behind the guard, he can make life a lot more difficult for Carl. If he does not throw the right weight, then it could be catastrophic, because it could even allow the red team, Brandon Morris's team, skipped today by Carl Anderson, to score 6 points. It's not going to be a draw. It's a takeout weight. He's going for the rock on the top of the 4-foot, but he takes a spill to the outside, leaving 4 red rocks, And the red team has one more rock to throw with 4 in the house and a good possibility of getting the 5th point if they can get their rock anywhere in the house there. Anywhere in the house and he can get that extra point that he so much needs right now. And losing by 2 with hammer, if you can score a 5, it's wonderful.
Good end, guys.
Because then you're going to be 3 ahead. Looks like the weight is right. It's not going to go through the house. It's enough to stop. Probably just behind the tee. Pretty safe weight. And that's 5 points for red. So a bit of bad luck that fell on Carl on the previous end. It looked like it fell on Jake Bailey's in this end. So Jake Bailey's mom, it looks like Diane sent hugs to Carl, sent some positive vibes to Jake so that he can get the good scoring end for the next one, get this game back close as it was. It still is a 3-point game, is not that bad after 4 ends. Kathy Dunn's first rock is a good guard, just a little bit off the center line, and we'll make it into a traditional and to be played here. It looks like the release was not very good, and it's going to throw a lot more than he expected. It's probably picked something up. Yeah, certainly a pick there. It was a good throw, but ended up picking something, ended up being hogged. It started curling really weird, really early. Maybe a fuzz on the ice or something. For Kathy's second rock, also guard weight. Or a little heavier than the guard weight. It's going into the house and right behind that guard. Just a very nice shot on the 8-foot, perfectly lined up with the guard. But with the amount of curl that we're getting here today, it is possible to hit the rock that's hidden behind there. And it seems like that's the shot that Jake called. It's a heavy draw, like maybe a hack weight. He was hoping for a little bit more, but he manages to move the red rock and still stay in the house. Move the red rock enough that it's still in play, but it's not in the house anymore. Joe Rockenbach's rock. He is curling from the inside out, trying to hit the yellow rock that's in the house. It's going to hit it on the inside, go a little bit to the other side, and stop right there on the back of the 4-foot. Still very easy to hit, very exposed, and possibly trying to drag this game into a takeout strategy game, which would be beneficial to the team that's currently leading, which is Team Morse of Kathy Dunn, Joe Rockenbach, Brendan Morse, and Carl Anderson. With a takeout game, it's very, very hard to get more than 2 points. And if they can keep their opponent from getting even the 2, they might be able to win this game. We've had some very high scoring ends, which is pretty unusual at this level of play. These are 2 very good teams playing here today. They're playing for the second event, and they hit the guard. The guard hits the shot rock, basically replacing the shot rock with the other rock that was previously the guard. Now Joe's going to try to throw a guard to protect the shot rock. Manages to get another rock in the house, which is another good option if you can't get the guard, and if it's a little bit too heavy, just put another one in there. If they can make the double, they'll get rid of the 2. If they can't make the double, you're still going to have 1 rock in there. Now Brendan tried to throw a heavy hit there to try to move those 2 rocks, ended up flashing, and the 2 red rocks are still in play, and Carl is thinking, what would happen if I put another one in there? Or maybe I should put the guard up. Looks like it's got enough weight to be in the house. Let's see if it will be a freeze onto the rocks that are shot within the 4 foot, or if it's going to be a guard in front of them. Looks like the weight is just T-line. They're going to have 3 rocks, 2 of them right on the button, the 3rd one biting the button, and that might even be a doable triple there. They might be able to take the 3 out with 1 heavy shot. Brendan has that weight, and he is probably going to try to use it. The amount of ice given looks like it's going to be a very heavy hit there. They get the heavy hit, but one of the 3 still stayed in there, even made a move back after it hit the rock behind it, and it's right behind the T line, while the yellow rock is off on the 8 foot, having hit so heavy that it spilled out to the left. Carl is calling for Brendan's rock to hit that yellow rock that stayed there. What he wants is, even if Team Bliss can score 1 point, it would be a very good advantage for Team Morse, because they could stay ahead with 2 points ahead and with hammer on the 6th end. A very nice hit. It hits perfectly, goes to the opposite side, biting the button on the right side. Brandon's shot seems to be a light hit,
Yep.
trying to go for the rock that's on the right side and stay there. He hits both rocks, rolls to the back of the house, and now at this point, from what we can see, it would be a measure to see who is closest to the center. We have the red rock on the left side there, and we have the yellow rock in the back. Pretty much very close, and they're trying to look from above. They have a better view than we do. Going for that rock, that yellow rock in the back, trying to take it out, keep the house clear of any yellow rock. A good strategy for Brandon and for Carl. Now Jake's going to try to draw, possibly behind the guard. He's not so sure. He came here looking like, well, I guess a draw.
It's a lot of ice, eh? It's a lot of ice. Okay.
Trying to readjust the position of the broom. The sweeper's got right on it, so I guess they're thinking that he doesn't have enough weight to get there. They're up now. They're trying to judge the weight as Brandon is trying to judge the line. It is light. It will stay just in front of the house and give a huge advantage to Carl Anderson, Brandon Morse, Joe Rockenbach, and Kathy Dunn. And Carl's call is for ice. That could be a draw behind the rock that was just thrown, or it could also mean that he wants to plug the draw so that Jake won't be able to draw into the house with his last shot. And there's still a lot of house there, so maybe the draw is the best choice. We don't know if his call is... Yeah, I think that the call might be in the house, but in the front of the exposed part of the 4-foot circle. Weight looks good, line looks good. The sweepers are right there, and the vice skip in charge of the house was calling yes for line. But it seems like it's a little bit heavier than they wanted, so they got up a little bit, got called back. It's in the house, and it's in the back of the house, just making for some backing. So Jake is going to have to go for the 1 point here because there's no way that he can get the 3 out and get the blank. So he'll have to content himself with a 1 point if he can get it in there and in front of the red rocks.
Yes, yes. Yes. Whoa, whoa.
A heavy throw with backing. This is certainly a little bit more than what we needed for a T-line draw. They have to wait for it to curl, and they have the backing that they need to make sure that the yellow rock will score in this one. Very good strategy play for Carl Anderson and his team, trying to force Jake to take one, and this way they can get the hammer for the 6th end. Now Dan Bliss throwing
Looking for tight center.
his first guard in this sixth end.
Tight center. Line's good. Line's real nice.
Back line's fine.
Line's
Take
real
it,
pretty.
bro.
Real pretty. Yeah, man. Oh, nice
A
shot
little
there.
lighter than what they needed. It's a two guard, a guard that's pretty much midway between the hog line and the top of the house. Carl calling for Kathy's Rock to be perhaps in the house, perhaps a guard on the outside covering the edge of the 4 foot or a little bit of the 8 foot. It looks like the weight is just there to be a biter, trying to draw his opponent into a hitting game that would be only advantageous to Carl's team.
Hit and roll.
Yes. Yes.
Board.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. Yep, hard.
Yes, fine. Yes, fine.
Yep, hard. Yep, hard. Yep, hard. Yep, hard.
Yes, fine.
He managed to take it out, but his rock gets to spill out and not stay in the house. So Carl is calling to put that same rock back in play.
Molly, back line. Back line, half.
Beth, just freeze, okay?
Okay, so now Jake Bailey's call is for a freeze in front of this rock. He's not going for that takeout anymore. He needs rock in the house. He needs points. He is 2 points behind without hammer.
Yes. Hard. Hard. Yep. Hard. Hard line. Hard line. Hard, 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 hard line. Ball, we shoot. Hard.
Wait.
It curled a lot, and it was a little heavier than what he wanted. So it's in play, but outside of the house, it just crossed in front of the rock that he wanted to freeze to and went behind it. Carl asking for Joe to throw the same shot on the opposite side, hoping to split the house and make it harder for his opponent. And the shot is executed very nicely. It's a little bit behind the tee line. So what is Jake going to call now? The rock on the right is closer to the center. So Jake wants a draw into the 4 foot.
Yeah, line's tight. Let's play the tap. Play the tap. Play the tap. Whoa, the curl. Yep. Yep.
ends up hitting his guard and getting the freeze that he couldn't get in the previous one, except that it's the outside freeze, and it would be better for him if he had the inside freeze on that rock.
Just bump this one back a little bit. Like back line. Yes.
So now there are 3 red rocks in the house and that yellow rock on the outside.
Yeah, promote.
Jake calling for Brandon's rock to curl in and with backing.
How's the weight? Whoa! Weight only! Go if you need to, though. Go ahead. You guys are in charge of weight. All of you? And for top 4. Yep. Oh, okay. Yep, okay.
He wants that to get as close as possible for front to the tee line, and he does it. And just behind the tee line, so now he has backing in case Carl wants to try to take that rock out. That eliminates some of the possible angles and might produce a jam to hit the red rock out and make sure that the yellow stays in. Carl is going for a hit on that yellow rock that was just thrown. What he has to do is make sure that Brandon's rock will cross the center of the yellow line, of the yellow rock, and hit it just on the inside to be able to spill it out without jamming. Seems like it's curling a lot. He's calling for a sweep. And he gets it out just perfectly, and the shooter spills out. All these games happening now, if I'm not mistaken, they are for the second event. We had the quarterfinals for the first event just earlier. The teams that won the draw just before this one are going to be playing. The teams that won those games are going to be playing the 2 semifinals later today.
Yeah, the last way you threw was control. What do you want? I want that line.
Now this is spilling a little bit. Might be very good shot for his team. He manages to get the double. Both red rocks go out. His yellow rock goes right behind the guard. That is just a fantastic shot. Very nice for Brandon Corbett. Red rock coming in, supposed to curl a little bit and get right there where the shot rock is and chip it off at the front. It's going to get a good chunk of it. Let's see if it's going to be enough. It's enough to take it out of play and roll a bit, but it's still exposed, giving yellow a chance to hit that rock out of there. Now Brendan is suggesting that Jake take a shot on the rock that's on the left side, hit that, and maybe spill, maybe even get the double. At this point, losing by 2 without hammer, you don't want any red rock in the house. You don't want to have your opponent score more than 1 point if you can help it. shot that's just going to be beautiful. If you can hit that red just right, roll behind the guard or roll until he can hit the other red out of play. This is turning out to be a very exciting end for us. You can see on the left side of your screen an advertisement for the curling sweater when they're throwing back, and that is Joe Rockenbach's sweater that's named Tony. The sweater has its own Twitter account. Oh, look at that shot. Almost got the double there. He managed to hit it out, and the red rock just stayed there. Tony, the sweater, has its own Twitter account where sightings of the curling sweater are listed, and there are images there. You can check it out on Twitter at Curling Sweater. Joe started the game playing with the sweater on. I guess he got very warm, sweeping hard during this game, and he took the sweater off. The sweater is right next to the window here up front. Sweeping calls from sheet A that's just next to the sheet that we're broadcasting right now. And here comes Carl's rock. It's going to be a biter, and I guess he was trying to guard the shot rock. It's still out there open. It's not 100% open, but there's enough there that Jake can go around the guard and hit the shot rock and stay right there. This is Jake's last rock on this end. He really needs to hit that. Sweeping yet. They're waiting for that to start. Now the call for the sweeping. If they can get around the biter guard, and they do it, and they hit it perfectly with a little bit of a roll in, very well executed shot.
Great shot, Jack.
Brandon and Carl. Brandon is the name of the skip for both teams. So Brendan Morse and Carl Anderson were discussing where to put the broom to get just enough of a curl to stay in front of that yellow rock and score one for Team Morse. Right now, yellow has the two closest rocks to the center, and if it would end right now, yellow would have scored 2 points.
Yep, yep.
Calling for a lot of sweeping there. Keep it hard, and that's one red. They got into agreement there. One red point for Team Morse, Brendan Morse, Carl Anderson skipping. That brings our score to 9. 10-7. So now the yellow team of Dan Bliss, Beth Cubison, Brendan Corbett, and Jake Bailey are going to try to score with the hammer. If they can get the good score, and we have had some very high scoring ends here, so anything can happen still in this game. Carl Anderson's strategy right now should be to force his opponent to take one, and then he can come back leading by 2 with hammer. At the same time, Jake and his team should be trying to get 2 or 3 there. That would put them back into position to tie this game and perhaps win by stealing the 8th end. Now for Kathy Dunn's second rock, what we have is 2 guards in front of the house. That would be a good strategy if you want to steal. You put a lot of rocks in front of the house. This one they're dragging right into the house, into the almost the inside edge of the 12-foot. So Jake is now calling for Dan's rock to hit that red with a little bit of force there. Looks like the rocks from the center out are curling a lot. Even the takeouts are curling a lot from the center out. They're going to try to sweep that until they can make sure that it goes around the guard, and now it hits and rolls behind the guard. There's only about a quarter of that rock exposed there.
Yeah! How about it? 3/4. Oh, great. Okay. Yep. Go on. Yeah. Anything at all for you, Jack.
Joe rocket box rock.
Yes. 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 All the way.
Trying hard to make it around that guard. No, it ended up hitting the guard. The guard is out of play, and the red rock is still in play, but it's not going to count. It's right on the back line. So now Jake's call for Bath's rock is probably to put it in the house just behind the red guard.
Okay, mine's pretty good. Yeah, that one? Yeah. Mine's real
It
good.
started to curl.
Mine's real good. Mine's real good. Right here, guys.
Didn't curl much. It's still out there. It's curling only at the very end, and it's in the house, and it's partially protected by the guard. Carl is going for a normal takeout hit. Curling from right to left. Outturn thrown by Joe Rockenbach.
Yes, yes.
Just perfect. Hit right on the nose and took the yellow out of play. Now for Beth's second round, trying to go around. It's curling a lot. Maybe they can get the. Can they still get it around the guard? No, it's going to hit the guard. It's going to go across, but at least it takes out the guard that was protecting the red rock behind it. For Brendan Morse's rock, he's going to try to hit that yellow out of play, reducing the chance that that the Bliss team will be able to get multiple points. So Jake was suggesting some sort of hit, but Brendan didn't want any of that. He wants a straight draw, drawing behind the rock that's almost on the center line. Brendan afraid of that pick that they had earlier on. He's afraid that it would happen again, making sure that the ice is really clean in front of his rock when he releases it. That's Brendan Corbett's rock. Jake is calling for sweeping, then no sweeping. It looks like it's right on the rock that he wanted to curl behind. It might end up it's unfortunately ended up promoting the red closer to the center and giving the team, Brendan Morse's team, skip today by Carl Anderson a chance to protect that rock and possibly steal more points. They manage to get a very, very nice shot. They take out the yellow guard and protect the shot rock behind them. Their role now is to make life more and more difficult for the Bliss Ring, and they're doing that just very nicely.
The double. Gives us a guard. You like that?
So now Jake is thinking about the double.
This is the other option, right? Freeze.
Either you freeze to the rock that is at the edge of the forefoot. Brandon is going back there to talk to Jake. They're going to discuss this shot since there are two options that seem to be equally good for them if they can execute them well. Now Brandon looking at some of the more complex options, which is hitting the outside and then rolling behind those two, which would require a very heavy weight, and it would require just the exact line to be able to get the exact amount of roll that you want and stay behind the two rocks. But at this point of the game, they really need to make these very hard shots. They can make them at times. The question is, will they make these hard shots at this point? Looks like they settled on a freeze on the rock that is at the edge of the forefoot. That would give them a chance in the last two throws to hit that and perhaps score 2, maybe even 3 if they're lucky. Finally curling, taps the red rock, but stays out there in the open and will give Carl and his team an obvious shot that would be the takeout. They just have to execute it, and they will have 2 rocks in the forefoot, 1 on each side, making life a lot harder for Jake Bailey's and the Bliss Ring. Carl's rock, then take out the yellow. Basically any hit that takes the yellow out is good. Staying there, excellent shot. 4 rocks in the circles and 2 of them just biting the forefoot. Jake Bailey still has 2 of his rocks to throw, and Carl has 1 more. And they managed to get the beautiful double. The second rock doesn't go out of play, but leaves the yellow right there. And yellow is now counting 1. It is still exposed. It would be nice if they could have had that yellow rock hide behind the guard and giving them the possibility to score 2 here. Right now, red has a hit on that yellow. If they can execute the hit, then yellow would have to content themselves with scoring only 1 in the 7th end. Thanks to all the 20 people who are watching us, following us on this 10th draw of the 2014 Cherry Blossom Bonspiel here at the Potomac Curling Club at the National Capital Curling Center. Now for Carl's shot, he's going for the hit on that yellow rock.
Yes. Yes, hard. All the way. All the way. Hard.
They're sweeping hard. They're going to hit their own rock into the yellow. Yellow goes out, and they have 2 red rocks in play. Even though they didn't do the shot the way they wanted, they got too much of a curl. They ended up managing to promote their rock and hit the rock that they needed to hit and get it out of the rings. Now what can Jake do? Jake can only draw for 1, and that's all that he can do. There's no way that he can get 2 here, so this makes it a lot harder. Hugs between Beth and Jake. They're laughing. They're having a good time, even though they're in a very hard situation in this game. Just has to get the weight right to get the rock biting the 8-foot. And they're shaking. It's the end of this game. With the win for the Morse ring of Kathy Dunn, Joe Tony the Sweater Brockenbach, Brendan Morse, and Carl Anderson. As they scored 2 points in the 7th end, and their opponent decides to shake. Final score is 12 for Red, Morse's team, and 7 for Bliss.